Hello, lovely women over 40. Let's be honest, we're halfway in. So how do we want our sex life to be for the second half of our life? Now that baby making is off the table, sex could become the most free, adventurous, connecting thing we've ever experienced. How do we get there? Hi, I'm Dr. Johanna Kennedy. I'm a mother of 3, a birth doula, and a hospice volunteer. Welcome back to my channel, where we keep death close to live more fully. Midlife does something really specific to sex. It changes the weight of it. Because in the first half of life, sex isn't just about pleasure, right? It's tied into the biggest decisions of our lives. It's what brings us together with a partner in the first place. It's part of how we choose who we build a life with. And choosing a life partner is massive. If you stay together, it's the person you will spend the most time with over your lifetime. That's the person who's still there when the kids are grown and the work colleagues are gone. And once you've found your person, then sex becomes connected to fertility, to not getting pregnant, or to trying, to timing, to pregnancy, and sometimes to loss, miscarriages, abortions. That whole chapter can carry so much emotional charge and consequence. And then, at some point, there's this shift. Baby making is all of a sudden off the table. The high stakes part is gone. And suddenly, sex isn't a necessity anymore. It becomes very deliberate. And hopefully, it becomes freer. And that's why it can feel like relief or grief, or both. And it leaves you with a new question. If sex isn't about securing a future anymore, what do I want it to be about now? What I see around me is not a single story. There are women who feel numb and honestly think, I could be done, I don't miss it. And there are women who feel the desire is there somewhere, but it's buried under marriage dynamics and resentment and patterns, power stuff, exhaustion, feeling touched out, and all the mental load of midlife. And then there's a third group of women who will say, no, I'm done with this, I'm leaving. Oftentimes, because the relationship has been unbearable for many reasons for many years, not only sex, right? And I want to be really clear, that comes at a massive cost. The heartache, the grief, saying goodbye to dreams you had for your life. And often it also means carrying a huge amount of responsibility and parenting alone for big chunks of the time. It's not easy at all. And still, I've seen transformations within those women that honestly blow my mind. Not because life suddenly becomes simple, but because they get these little islands of time that are free of family duties, time that belongs to just them. And some women really create magic with that time. They use it to move their body, to remember what they like, and to sometimes rediscover themselves and their sexuality in this incredibly new way. Women who felt numb for years suddenly come alive. I'm not saying leave is the answer. I'm saying there's something to learn from that aliveness. And the question that remains is, if you want to stay in your relationship, hopefully for the best of reasons, because there is love and connection and loyalty, how do we rediscover ourselves and our sexuality while staying, and with all of life still going on around us? From where I stand, there are 3 crucial ingredients. I really think that the first how is you have to start with yourself, always. I say this to postpartum women all of the time, and honestly, it applies just as much in perimenopause. If you haven't had a moment to yourself in weeks, if your body has basically been public property all day, if there's always someone needing something from you, why would you be interested in having a moment for someone else who is not a baby? That's not how it works. And I don't mean to say be selfish. Who cares what your partner needs? I mean, you need time and space to be yourself again first. Because a lot of women think the problem is something like, I should want sex more, or I should be more in the mood. And then they put pressure on themselves, and that pressure kills everything. So the real starting point is much more basic. Do I have any space in my life? Do I have any rest? Do I have any joy? And do I feel like a person enough instead of just a function? Because if you're depleted and touched out and overwhelmed and maybe also quietly resentful because you're carrying so much, then sex doesn't feel like connection. It feels like another task, another person wanting something from you, another thing you have to manage. And of course, your body says no to that. That's a normal response. So before we even talk about how to spice things up, I want you to ask, what would make me feel like myself again? What would make me feel spacious enough, safe enough, rested enough that desire even has a place to land? If you're listening to this and thinking, yes, I want to have more conversations about this topic with other women my age, but I don't know where, that's exactly why I created the No Regrets Women's Circle. It is for mothers in midlife who are willing to open up about their wins and their challenges and to go through life cheering each other on. It's €29 per month. And if you're a single mom or if money is tight, you can use code SingleMoms for 50% off. The link is in the description below. The second how is start new, be curious. Don't pretend you already know everything about each other, because you don't, not anymore. We love to say things like, oh, we've been together forever. We know each other so well. And yes, you know the person's habits and their coffee order and what annoys them. But sexually, in this phase of life, you're basically meeting a new version of each other, especially as a woman. What feels good can change so much. After motherhood, for sure, and then again in perimenopause. The timing, the pace, the kind of touch, what your nervous system can handle, what makes you soften, and what makes you shut down. Sometimes things that used to work suddenly don't, and things you didn't care about before become really important. There are literally some positions I cannot do anymore since having children. The same as I cannot sit on a swing anymore without feeling nauseous. There are days when my vagina feels like paper, even though I am super aroused. These changes are not in your head. Your body is literally changing. Hormones, circulation, your stress system, sleep, energy, the whole way you recover. Even the way your brain processes arousal can shift. So it makes zero sense to keep trying to do sex the way you did it at 28 and then conclude, okay, something is wrong with me. Nothing is wrong. You've changed. So what I mean by start new is slow down, ask different questions, make space for experimenting without pressure. Treat it like we're learning this body now. We're learning this season now. We're learning what good even means now. And the third thing is that the old script that intimacy equals intercourse has to go out of the window. I want to be able to say, I'm happy to be touched. I'm happy to touch you. And if at any moment my body says no, or my vagina feels papery, or I'm just not there, I can stop. And it's truly okay. No hard feelings. A couple of years ago, I had this conversation with my husband for the first time, and it was such a gift for both of us. I told him, sometimes I feel a tiny erotic spark, not a full-blown fire of passion, more like I would love to be naked with you and be super close to you, but I honestly don't know if that will be a 5-minute naked cuddle or if it will turn into something else. And then I don't tell you about it because I don't want you to be disappointed if my spark is only enough for the 5-minute naked cuddle. And I asked him, would you like me to tell you about my little sparks? And his answer was such an obvious yes. Please share them with me. And that changed so much for both of us because it meant I didn't have to hold myself back until I was 100% sure I could follow through all the way. Instead, I would share my sparks with him. which led to all kinds of outcomes. #responsive desire. The most important outcome, however, was that both of us feel more seen and loved. And I really think that it's those little moments that make a marriage feel juicy and nourishing. In the end, I am convinced that men want the same thing we want, to feel loved, desired, and appreciated. We are at an age where we know 100% that life is finite. So let's not waste our time having bad sex or saying yes to things we don't actually want to do. Intimacy can be so powerful, so creative. I don't want to soil it with pressure and rules that don't serve anyone. So let's fill our own cup first. This is our responsibility. And let's be curious about our new, ever-changing bodies, about our partners, and about the sparks that we witness in ourselves. I am so curious to hear your stories. What is the biggest difference you notice in your own sexuality after 40? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for being brave today. May you have a wonderful day, and may you sprinkle some magic dust on the world around you.